When the U.S. entered World War I, it was desperately short of Model 1903 rifles. Luckily, several U.S. companies were finishing up production of British Pattern 14 rifles for the British war effort. It was decided best to modify the P14 design to fire the .30-06 cartridge from the 303 British rather than retool these factories to make 1903s. While the 1903 remained the primary service rifle of the U.S., production of the Model 1917 far outpaced the 1903, and it is estimated that 3/4 of the American Expeditionary Force had Model 1917s by the armistice. This rifle story starts in Pennsylvania. Marked on top of the receiver is the model, manufacturer, and serial number. This one was made by Eddystone, which was a subsidiary of Remington that was located in Eddystone, Pennsylvania. The serial number of 710,000 puts production of this rifle sometime in July of 1918. Just behind the front sight is the barrel markings. The manufacturer's initial, U.S. Ordnance Bomb, and manufacture date can be found here. With a manufacturer mark of E indicating Eddystone and a manufacture date of May of 1918, I think it is safe to assume this is the original barrel on this rifle. Along with the barrel, many of the other parts have a manufacturer initial. As mentioned, E was for Eddystone. Remington made parts were marked with a R, and Winchester made parts were marked with a W. While most of the parts on this rifle are made by Eddystone, there are several replacement parts made by both Remington and Winchester. Through the manufacture process, the rifles would be proofed. There are 3 proof marks on the Model 1917. All are U.S. Ordnance Bomb stamps, and they differ slightly from the bomb stamp on the barrel. One is on the left side of the receiver, another on the top of the bolt handle, and the last is on the barrel under the handguard. As parts were inspected by Ordnance Department inspectors, they would be marked with a government acceptance stamp. At the time, this was a small eagle's head facing left with typically numbers, but sometimes letters were included. These individual marks were assigned to specific inspectors. The acceptance mark on the receiver is located on the top of the left receiver rail. There are 2 acceptance marks on this receiver. While there's not a special final acceptance mark on the Model 1917s, it is believed the rearward acceptance stamp on the bottom of the stock, behind the trigger guard, was marked as a final acceptance mark. With the armistice only a few months after production of this rifle, it is unlikely that it saw much use, if any, in Europe before the war's end. In 1941, the U.S. enacted what is known as the Lend-Lease Act, which provided war supplies to our allies during World War II. Through this program, reserve Model 1917s were transferred to Canada. This rifle shows evidence of this, with the Canadian property marks stamped on the receiver in front of the serial number and on the right side of the stock. The mark is what is known as a British broad arrow inside a capital C. These Lend-Lease rifles were typically given to Home Guard units and did not leave Canada. On the underside of the stock on this rifle, there is a 6th H marking. My best guess on this marking is that it is a Canadian unit marking, possibly of a Home Guard unit. If you have any insight, please leave a comment and let me know. Finally, at some time, this rifle was imported back into the U.S. The import mark is stamped on the right side of the barrel, and it indicates that it was imported by Century Arms International while they were in St. Albans, Vermont. The ATF did not require import marks until 1986, and Century Arms moved from St. Albans in 2000, so this rifle would have been imported sometime in that period. Every firearm has a history, and some of this rifle's story has been deciphered through its markings. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting or helpful, go ahead and give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. more information on this rifle and others, head on over to historyandfirearms.com.